lesson 81 is on graphing and solving linear systems, which means the numerical equation of a line, if I were to graph it, I could write it out as an equation, and then if we had two of them, you could find out where they intersect by solving them algebraically or by graphing them, and so we're going to do both. So, just to review, the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. B is where it crosses the y, somewhere along here, whatever number is in this last spot, that's where it crosses the y on this number line. And then m is the slope of it. And so if it was 2 over 1, that'd be rise over run. That would be over 1 up 2, over 1 up 2. That's your slope for it. And so if I have these pre-made equations, then I can solve them by graphing them both on here. And wherever they intersect is the answer. And we're going to do that in just a second. But first, the other way you could do it is by substitution. And we solve one at a time. Whenever there's two variables, you have to have two equations to get both answers. And you do it one at a time by substituting in what one of them means. So we know y equals either one of these. So y equals 1/2 x minus 1. So I am going to, everywhere there's a y, instead, y equals, so down here where there's a y, I'm going to put this. So instead of saying, I'm going to say 1/2 x minus 1 equals -3/2 x plus 3. So first I'm going to solve for that. That is what y equals right here. I just moved it down right there. So I would change things around. I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and I'm going to add 3/2 x to both sides. Now, by doing that, I do the opposite of -1 is +1. That cancels that out. And I did the opposite of -3/2. I did +3/2. That cancels that out. So that leaves 1/2 x plus 3/2. That would be 4/2, which is the same as 2x equals 4. 3 plus 1 is 4. Divide both sides by 2 to isolate the variable. X equals 4 over 2, which is the same as 2. So now I know what x equals. It equals 2. So now I can solve for y. So if I can now put y equals 1/2 times 2 minus 1, I can figure out what y is. So I'm substituting that in now. So 1/2 times 2 over 1 is 2 over 2, which is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So my x is 2. My y is 0. Oops. My y is 0. Now we're going to graph them to see if that is accurate. So now again, I don't have an actual grid on here, so I'm going to have to estimate, but I'm going to graph. If I have 1/2 x minus 1, that means I'm going to cross the y at -1. So I'm going to say right here, I'm going to cross the y, and my slope is 1 over 2. So there'll be rise over run. I'm going to run 2, up 1. 1, 2, up 1. 1, 2, up 1. 1, 2, up 1. So I have my line. Ugh, can't draw straight. And then I'm going to graph this one. Crossing at the 3. 1, 2, 3. My slope is -3 over 2. Now this negative could go on the top or the bottom, but it can't do both. So I'm going to say over 2 down 3. Over 2 down 3. Over 2 down 3. Over 2, I'm not doing this right, hold on. Over 2 down 3. Over 2 down 3. Over 2 down 3. Over 2 down 3. Okay, so here's my line. And it looks like I crossed it right at the 2 and the 0. So that would be 2, 0, and this is 2, 0 also. So that's how you graph it. I know this is messy, and that's how you solve it using substitution. So for your homework, you're going to do the same, and they may try to trick you by having parallel lines. If they have parallel lines, they have the same slope, they will never intersect. And so that would say, you would say undefined or not solvable. that does not work. So on your practice work, you're going to do A through C, and you are going to solve it algebraically using substitution. Do it again by substitution, and then C, you're going to do it by graphing. And that should be pretty easy. And I hope you are doing your work and turning it in.